Okay, so we're continuing the talk on how Venus measures value through the houses, and we're going to continue with fifth house. So, the fifth house is where we find our joy, our happiness. It's the things that we love to do, the hobbies and talents that we have. It's also our romantic nature, and it's how we meet other people and romance other people, and what types of people we can also be, really attracted to. What types of people will complement our light. So, with the fifth house, Venus here is measuring a sense of how much do you need anything else but your own raw talent. And sometimes we can get caught up in that you don't have the time, that you don't have the resources. Let's say you need to get the perfect piano to start playing piano. You need to get the guitar or whatever. But it's more about the things that you want to do with those things. So here you may take more than a direct line towards your joy. You might bypass it using the zodiac sign that's there. So, for instance, if Sagittarius is here, you might feel like you need to go to school before you can become any sort of talented professional. And the fifth house is actually where you can start new business. So there's this part of you that can just go for it, can just start to speak it in existence and make it happen. And that is when Venus is at her most balanced here, is when you know that. And everything else is just a compliment. It's just a gift to help you along the journey towards expressing yourself and making it into something that is going to be authentic and something that you can use later on in the chart for business, for influence, and for legacy. So the fifth house is so important. It's very connected to children and the inner youthful side, the tender part of you. And planets in this house are going to have a sensitive Leo like nature to them. They'll seem very raw and like, but there's also a very sensitive side, and depending on the planet, it can be very deep. So Venus here really is very much like that. There's deep sensitivities to feeling worthy enough to be talented, to even care about such a thing. And you'll find imbalances here when you completely neglect any sort of enriching hobby that you would need to be a part of. Okay, so let's get into the sixth house. Now, the sixth house is important because this is a place where we are working and we're supposed to be, very organized and accountable for our responsibilities. That's the sixth house. It's not a very fun house, but it's a very important house, especially when you're looking at the preparation for success. And it's very connected to your calling. And so with Venus here, Venus is measuring how much are you tapped into that calling, or how much are you just doing what everybody tells you to do. So if there's like a trend that says wake up at 5 in the morning, then you're just doing that, when in your chart you might need to sleep through the morning and you're more of a night person. So this is something that has to be about being authentic and still has to be responsible, but you forget yourself in the sixth house. And this is also a place where Venus can measure value by how hard they work and forget everything else. So these could be people that are imbalanced and have a lack of self-care, that they think that the work is the most important thing and neglect everything else. So, you'll definitely find lack here if, you feel disorganized, if you feel like, maybe you're really purposeful, you're very connected to your purpose, but you're not connected to everything else. And so Venus is going to measure out, like, why is it that you need to work so much and not care about yourself? Is there some sort of, thing you're trying to avenge? Is there some sort of like feeling that you're trying to feel towards the end of it? Because this is the sixth house is a process house. So there's something here that Venus has to see about where are you going? Your process, but where are you going? What is that mountain for you at the end of this process? And so if that mountain is something that belongs to Venus, if it's money, if it's, beauty, if it's any of those things, then Venus will cave in on you. And this is where you can get really lost. Because those things are the things that are enhancements and they're gifts that come along the way. And that's how Venus provides in the sixth house. And if you're not focused on self-care in the sixth house, then you're not actually partaking in Venus's gifts. So you might be too ambitious, excuse me, in the sixth house. You might be really ambitious in here and find a lot of imbalance. So the key here is to take care of yourself and to take care of your health, and also to kind of work on your intuition, work on that gut intuition about yourself, about the things that disturb you, about the things that, feel off to you. These are the things that really create your value here, and that Venus will help to support is, let's say you are dealing with depression. Well, this is definitely a self-care to get counseling or coaching or life coaching or something like that. If you're feeling like, your body is aching, you might want to do regular massages or something like that. So Venus will help you and support you when you really know what part of your health you're trying to hone in on and cure and heal for yourself. So for the seventh house, Venus is measuring how much you use your relationships as a clutch. And your relationships can be very important to you with Venus here, as it is a Venus naturally ruled house, being it's naturally Libra's house. So Venus is comfortable here, and so there's certain details about Venus that you're probably very good at. You're probably very suave at, and really understand the rules of Venus. Check out Venus is Not As Feminine As You Think series, because that series would be perfect for somebody like you. And understanding that there is like a hierarchy to beauty. There is a hierarchy to wealth when we look at the material world. And this comes through the people that you're with. And so you really feel the need to be justified and respected off of your own tastes of beauty and appreciation. So like, let's say if you're a strong art dealer, you're a master art dealer, whatever, exactly what types are your favorites. You have very distinct tastes here. So Venus can use those tastes as a clutch as well. So they can use the partner, in which the partner is a valuable thing that represents money, wealth, and status for them. And if they don't have it within themselves, and if you don't have it within yourself, then your partner becomes a clutch, and you're putting all of the weight into your partner. And so this starts to lean into very superficial things like, are they beautiful enough for me in the world and things like that? And can I be with somebody who other people won't accept? And so Venus here is measuring your sense of lack when it comes to the partner and how much you're using a partner as a clutch. But the same also goes for the same also goes for your preferences. And this is why this part is also a contractual and transactional part, and is a very important law that we find with relationships in the seventh house, true relationships, that there is some sort of contract that needs to be had. And so for you, your preferences are a part of that contract. It's important for you to have these things in order to feel like you are loved, respected, and honored in a relationship. And Some of these preferences might also be kind of superficial. They might be off of, do you come from a wealthy family? Are you wealthy yourself? Where are you in status in life, in social status, in ranking, in fame, even? Um, where are you with your beauty? You know, are you one of the most beautiful types of like that girls, you know, or that guys, or are you more of a, you know, ordinary person? Or do you have some sort of things, does your partner have even some sort of things that, you know, just people might, you know, think is ugly, just plain and simple? So those preferences start to become a clutch as well, and can really unstabilize relationships and contracts. So it's just about having something that is mutual. It's not like you have to let go of your preferences. They just can't be a clutch for you. It has to be something that it would be a nice enhancement, something that would be, you know, be the icing on the cake for the relationship rather than the core of why the relationship is what you chose it to be.